Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to look into today is the abduction along with 2 murders. The abduction was of a girl called Jayme Closs, and the murders were unfortunately her parents. This happened back in 2018. So not actually that long ago really, but it's just a shocking, horrible case. Well, they all are, aren't they? Let's face it. But this one is like a kind of a stalking case as well. It's like got everything in this one. This was suggested by Ju, so thank you for that. I appreciate any suggestions you guys have, and of course if you have any more, please do let me know. You can either let me know in comments like a lot of you do, or email. A lot of you do that as well. Jayme Lynn Closs was born on the 13th of January in 2005 to parents James and Denise. She was born in Wisconsin and she was like their only child. Jayme was a family girl. She absolutely adored her family, and she was just a lively, happy person who just enjoyed life, loved life, and just was a very active girl. What they unfortunately didn't know was, and it is such a shocking thing to happen, and obviously these things do happen, but they were actually being stalked. It wasn't being stalked for that long of a time, and the reason behind the stalking was that this male had actually seen Jayme get off the bus, and that was it. That made him, I guess, follow her home, and then he would attempt to take her on a few occasions, unsuccessfully. Like, not unsuccessfully, he didn't actually go in, but he made attempts a few times to go around to see whether he could take her, kind of thing. The first time that he came around to the house was the 5th of October in 2018. He had gone around and he noticed that there was quite a lot of activity going on in this house, and so decided that, you know, today was not the day and he would come back, which he did on the 7th of October. Again, he felt the same. There was a lot of activity in that house and he felt like it was not safe enough to commit these heinous crimes that he was about to commit, so he goes home again. When he would return for a 3rd time on the 5th of October in 2018 was when he made his opportunity, and he took it. He saw his opportunity and he took it, sorry. It was around 12:50 AM and this man turned up at the front door of the Closs household. Now, he was wearing a ski mask. He also had a black coat and his ski mask was black too, so obviously he's wearing all dark clothing. James shone a light through the front door and asked for the identification of this man, and this man basically went to get it out as if he was going to show it to James. James opened the door and then he fired. James Closs lost his life instantly. He was 56 years old at the time. Now, obviously, Jayme and her mother Denise had heard this, you know, commotion. They heard the shots and were petrified. They decided that they were going to go and hide in the bathroom because that door locked, and obviously her mother is trying to call the police and everything at this moment in time. And then this man is going through the house. He's searching every single room, because not that they knew it at the time, they didn't find this out till after, but you know, he wanted Jayme. That is who he was there for, and he was gonna get rid of all of the witnesses. That is the plan. He's going through this house to make sure there is nobody else, and obviously if there was, he was going to take them out. He didn't want to leave any witnesses whatsoever, so he's going through the house searching for all the rooms, and then he comes to the locked bathroom where the girls are obviously hiding. Denise had actually managed to get hold of the operator, but I don't believe she actually managed to speak to her because he had actually forced his way in at that point, and so the operator heard some disturbing sounds and noises and thought that it would be best to send the police there anyway, even though they hadn't spoke to anyone. By that point, again, he was in there. He tied Jayme's ankles and wrists with duct tape, and then he proceeded to fatally shoot her mother. And then he grabbed Jayme and he carried her out of there. He literally shot Denise in front of her own daughter, who was 13 at the time, and Denise was just 46 years old. So she had witnessed her mother's murder and she's bleeding everywhere because obviously he fatally shoots her. And as he's on his way out, he actually slips in her blood. So that's just, you know, goes to show how horrible this whole thing was. But he grabs Jayme, drags her out of the house and puts her in the boot of his car. And then he drives off. He literally passes the police on his way out. Like, they were, I believe the police took 4 minutes to respond. That was all the time they took to respond to this call. And within that time, he had killed 2 people, grabbed Jayme, and off he was. But they literally passed him. So if they would have been, I don't know, a few seconds earlier, a few minutes earlier, a minute earlier, something like that, you know, they might have actually caught him in the act, but they literally drove past him. So obviously the police get there, they come across this horrible scene, they find out that, you know, Jayme is actually missing, and they begin their investigation. He didn't leave any DNA evidence behind, he didn't leave anything behind, like they literally had nothing to go on. But obviously they're setting a search out to try and find Jayme, they're doing media appeals, they're putting it out that this girl is missing. People were coming forward and volunteering. The police were, you know, getting all of these searches together. They needed to find Jayme quickly. Just did everything in their power to try and find this missing girl. Huge search parties went out looking for her, and by the 26th of October, there was quite a substantial reward out for her. It was $50,000. And that would go to anybody that, you know, would lead to getting Jayme. That would lead to Jayme's whereabouts, kind of thing. In the meantime, whilst this man drove away with Jayme, he took her to his cabin. He commanded her to change, and then he shoved her under a mattress. Now, he sealed off all the exits, and he didn't even put extra locks on the door because he was confident of how frightened Jayme was of him. What he did do though was he would put things on top of the mattress and stuff like that, and if she tried to escape, he would know. And she was that frightened of him that she didn't, because on the one occasion that she did try and escape, he beat her. So she was petrified of him. She'd literally seen him kill her mom right in front of her, and he killed her dad, and it's just so horrific. He had taken her to this place and she was frightened to death. She was, you know, so young, and of course she was scared of him. She really was. He did allow her out, you know, and he allowed her to go for walks and stuff, but if it was in the garden, he made sure that there was nobody around. She was allowed to wander around other areas of the house on his command so that he watched her and things like that. But whenever he went out or left or whatever, he would put her under that mattress and he would put all the things on top. He didn't think that she would leave. She was really scared of him, and he was confident in that. He never actually sexually assaulted her or anything like that because he felt guilty for what he actually did to her parents. He actually held her captive for 88 days, which is almost 3 months. So, you know, she would have been terrified all the time. It's just so awful to even think that she's lost her parents, basically her entire family, and she is being held captive by a person she does not know, and it must have been so frightening for her. In the meantime, the police are still doing their searches. They are looking for her. Everyone was looking for her. They received a lot of tips about her as well, like 2,000, but again, they had combed over the house and the evidence and there just wasn't any, and so it was really, really difficult. These tips and things that they were getting in never unfortunately led to anywhere, and so they were struggling. The neighbours, they spoke to those, they said that they did actually hear gunshots, but it was hunting season and they often heard gunshots, so they didn't think anything was wrong with that, you know. It was just normal to them, unfortunately, to hear gunshots, and it would normally be hunting, but on this occasion it was not. They just didn't have a clue. So nobody saw anything, there was just no witnesses, there was literally nothing. Jayme said that he would put her under the mattress when he had people around as well. Even for like Christmas and things, when he has people around for occasions such as that, he would be under the mattress. He would make her hide under there so that nobody knew she was there. When it came to the 10th of January in 2019, this man said that he was going out. He did the same routine like he always would. He put Jayme under that mattress and he put all of the things on top. But this time was different. She had decided that she wanted to take her own fate back and she was going to try and escape. Which is so brave, of course. So she manages to get all these things off the mattress. She pushes everything she can as far away from the door as she can. And then she grabs some trainers. She puts on a shirt and some leggings. And the trainers were men's trainers because she just grabbed anything she could just to get out of there like you would. And she just ran out of there. She carried on running and running until eventually she ran into a woman that was walking her dog. Now, this woman recognized Jayme straight away from the media. She knew that she was missing. And so she went and took her to a neighbor's house. Now, she didn't actually have a phone on her at the time, so obviously that is why she couldn't call the police straight away. So the best option was to take somebody else who did have a phone, which is what she did. So the police arrived. They have finally found Jayme, the missing girl that they've been looking for almost 3 months. And she is able to tell them who murdered her parents and who kidnapped her. And this man was called Jake Patterson. Jake was literally arrested within minutes of the police receiving that information because a police officer spotted his car, flagged him down, and he just admitted to it straight away. He knew the jig was up and he just said that he'd done it. Jake admitted to the counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 1 account of kidnapping, and 1 account of armed burglary. That was on the 14th of January, and his bail was set at $5 million. He pled guilty to all counts, and on the 24th was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. He didn't have the possibility of parole, and they added an extra 40 years on top for the kidnapping of Jayme. The police then went ahead and gave Jayme half of the reward money, so $25,000, because essentially she was the one that saved herself, which is so brave, so amazing, and you know, she just is such a strong and fantastic young lady. Just the amount of courage and strength it would have taken for her to gather up the bravery to do something like that is just amazing. She never gave up, and she knew that, you know, she had to get out of there, and eventually she did. And today, 2 years on, her aunt has said that Jayme Closs is surrounded by loved ones. She's doing really well and just taking life day by day like anyone would expect somebody who survived such a trauma to do. At the time of him being sentenced, Jayme basically said that, you know, she used to love going out with friends and being social and things, and that he had taken all of that away from her. But now, 2 years on, she is doing a lot better. She's socializing again. She's putting her trust back in other people again, and is enjoying her school activities as much as she can and things like that. One of the saddest aspects of this case is that Jayme is scarred, and, you know, luckily she survived, but she lost both her parents, and he took them both away from her. That little girl had to grow up after the age of 13 without having a mum and dad there, and that is just honestly heartbreaking. And for what? It's just so wrong. Jake was just such a monster, and he literally saw her getting off a bus. They didn't have any contact before that. It's just so frightening. Honestly, it really is. I am truly glad that Jayme is doing so well now. Obviously, the heartache and the scars will never fully heal, but all you can do is just try and carry on with life and not let him ruin it more for you, in a sense, which is what she's doing. It seems like she's doing really well now, and I honestly hope she gets everything else in life that she aspires to do, and just hopefully she enjoys it as much as she can after such a traumatic incident. But yeah, that is the end of the case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. Anyway guys, that's all I have today on the case of Jayme Closs and the murder of Denise and James Closs. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.